Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain Jay, and tonight we have a very special treat for you because we are officially in Final Fantasy season, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to start theory crafting. We're probably going to do 2 theory crafted decks for you tonight. Well, not tonight, but as time goes by, all leading up to early access. And I'm going to be in early access thanks to Wizards of the Coast on June 4th. So make sure that you're got your notifications on. You don't want to miss that. We're going to be trying all the cards, all the decks for Wizards Early Access event, streamer event on June 4th. Mark the date. In the meantime, I've got to start building decks already that I want to run. And one of the first things that I wanted to run was the TIFA Punch. I've seen a lot of Final Fantasy cards. A lot of them are a little slow. But Tifa, ooh, she can knock you out quick. You could say that Tifa's a real knockout. Oh my god, that's so bad. Alright, won't do any more of those jokes. It's a legitimately good card, and I have a green landfall here for you. Before we get down to it, I need you to do something for me, though, which is, of course, tenderly press that like button. Gently press that subscribe button. Because if you don't press that like and subscribe button, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to get attacked by the like and subscribe. Which you may or may not know is a YouTube werewolf who will viciously attack you and maul you for not liking the video and subscribing to the channel today. Join us on a stream every night at twitch.tv/thatvillainj for our live stream goodness, where you can watch me build these decks, play stuff. Yeah, I'll be live on Twitch and YouTube. Hit that bell, you'll be notified when we go live on either place. Check out our Discord community for all the latest news, information, post your decks. I'd love to see your builds. Do you have a theory craft or do you have an idea for a deck? I'd love to see it. I'll play it in early access. Submit it to me on the Discord. And of course, this is going to be available on my Moxfield and on my AetherHub. Moxfield's just a little easier to build stuff in, so I like Moxfield. Both of those links are down below. So what are we talking about? Well, we already have a pretty decent green landfall deck available to us, mainly through the Mossberg Pump right here and Bristly Bill. So the main goal is to hit landfall and get huge knockout trample hits before anybody can really stop us. If they don't have removal and they don't, it's really to the point where it doesn't even matter if they can block. We're gonna hit them so hard, we're gonna roundhouse them so hard, it's gonna be for all of their mana. It's gonna be for all their life. So first things first, for our 1-drop, we're gonna have Insidious Fungus. This is a great opener. It's a 1/2 for green, and it has a lot of flexibility in it insofar that it's an anti-meta. We can draw a card and then put a land card from our hand on the battlefield, which is obviously playing an extra land a turn is super good for landfall things. Or we can destroy an enchantment or artifact, which right now in current meta year, it's very powerful. So that's going to be our 1-drop. Now, getting right into the good stuff here, getting right into the beef and bristles, is going to be Bristly Bill Spine Sower. We actually have another card that does something very similar, and I want to show it to you as well. 1 green and 1 plant druid landfall. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on it. Super good, especially if you can get multiple lands. You build up. Then you can pay green and 2 green and 3 and double the number of 1/1 counters on everyone and really pump like crazy. We're also getting a new card called Ride the Shoe Puff. Yeah, and this is from Final Fantasy X, which I haven't played in like 20 years, so I don't remember this. 1 green and 1, very similar to Bristly Bill. It's going to be a good alternative, especially if you can't afford the mythic rares. Whenever a land you control enters, put a 1/1 target, 1/1 counter on a target creature you control. Then, if you play 2 green and 5, this enchantment becomes a 2/2 beast creature in addition to its other types. It will become an enchantment beast, and you can swing in for that 7/7 if you have the land for it. But it does a very similar effect to Bristly Bill. It's not a creature. It's a little harder to get rid of, so I'm actually pretty stoked on Ride the Shoe Puff for these kind of decks right here. And guess what? Because Bristly Bill's a legendary, you can have both of them out. You could have a Shoe Puff and a Bristly Bill and be putting 2/2 on each creature, especially if you're getting 2 landfalls a turn, you're going to be putting 4/4 on people. Now, putting 4/4 on somebody like Tifa, maybe? Tifa Lockhart, the 2-drop right here, fantastic. There she is, throwing her classic roundhouse kick. 1 green and 1, 1/2, trample already built in. Human Monk, whenever a land you control enters, double Tifa Lockhart's power until the end of turn. I cannot tell you how dangerous that is. Again, if you have played her on turn 3 or something like that, and you've double Bristly Billed her, she's going to be she's a 3/4 trample. and then you put down a land, and then she becomes a 6/6 trample, and then you put down another land because you figured out a way to put another land into play, and she becomes a 12/12. You can see the problem. You can see how that's going to get out of control very quickly, especially the more lands that you play, and the bigger that you get her initial power that is doubled. How are we going to do that? Well, we have a couple of ways. Like I said, either with Bristly Bill, ride the Shoe Puff, or some of these lovely enchantments here, like Audacity. 1 green, enchanted creature gets +2 and has trample. We don't really need that, but the +2 is nice. Whenever it dies, you draw a card, which is super cool. That starts Tifa out at 3. You landfall her with Bristly Bill. She goes to 8. You landfall her again. She goes to 16 damage, trampling in. You can see where this is going, right? You can see that this is a absolute knockdown, drag out, punch to the face as hard as you possibly can. And she's not the only one that can do it. She is following in the path of the Mossberg Pump right here. 1 green and 2. That is a 3-drop trample built right in. Whenever this creature enters with 1/1 counter on it, and whenever it's landfalled, you double the number of 1/1 counters on this creature. So not only that, you have Tifa on 2, Mossberg Pump on 3. You are starting to see the births of something horrible and terrible here, of just a massive amount of damage, just huge walls of trampling power going in, especially if you can play multiple lands per turn, which I'm going to teach you how to do in a second. Part of the problem with the Mossberg Pump decks that we used to be playing with is that they were good and they could knock you out very quickly. But you had to rely on basically Mossberg to be your win con. Tifa gives you a second win con, built right in. They can't remove everything. If you keep playing stuff, keep drawing cards, keep getting in their way, someone is going to come in with that uppercut that's just going to lay them out flat. One of the other things we like right here is going to be Order of Nylea, which really synchronizes very nicely with 1/1 counters, like Shoe Puff and Bristly Bill and Mossberg. 1 green and 1. This is from Foundations. Enchant creature. When a creature attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it. Then if it has 3 or more 1/1 counters, sacrifice Order of Nylea. When you do, you get to put down 2 basic land cards tapped to the battlefield. Amazing. Imagine Tifa with 3 1/1 counters on her. So she's a 4/5. 2 lands come in. She goes again. She goes to 8. She goes to 16, trampling in. Huge, huge hits. And not only that, that's the 2 lands you get from Order of Nylea. If you had already done that one time, she's at 16. Guess what? She's on 32 because you put 3 lands down that turn. You put 3 land down, she's hitting you for 32. That is a knockout. Fantastic stuff right there. So that is how we're kind of going to start pumping, playing extra lands, bringing up that power, and bringing green back into the game. Because green is not really in the game right now, guys. Everyone's talking about red and other stuff, but I really want to do this Tifa hit, and I really want to just absolutely slug people in the face with those huge punches. So that is what we're going to do. The best way to get more lands onto the board, I'm going to show you. We have a couple. We have a new summons. This is going to be Summon Fenrir. This is a Final Fantasy card. This is an uncommon. 1 green and 2. Crescent Fang. Search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Guess what? That's 2 land drops a turn, especially Tifa is on the curve 2, right? Tifa's on 2, Fenrir's on 3. Boom. Extra land, that's 2 lands right there. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Then he is also a 3/2 Saga Wolf right there. By the way, he's a Saga creature. His next turn, whenever you cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters with an additional 1/1. Very, very cool for Mossberg Pump if you're doing him on turn 4. Or anything for that matter to just pump up. And then Ecliptic Growl. Draw a card. If you control a creature with the greatest power or tied for the greatest power, you get a card draw at the end of it. So really, really useful summons that you can do on the curve on turn 3. We're trying to move fast here. It's a green Stompy card, but it is not that slow. We have a lot of cheap stuff. The curve is low on this. We're trying to hit hard and keep moving. We're also going to throw in 2 Summon Titans. If we need more power, this is actually a great way to bring it in with the long game. If we kind of get bogged down and they remove a lot of our stuff, we're going to bring in the Summon Titan. You mill 5 cards. He's only 2 green and 3. He's a 5-drop, 7/7 trample and reach, which is already pretty good. I mean, a 7/7 trample reach for 5 is decent. Return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That has the potential to absolutely devastate somebody on turn 6. If you have a Mossberg Pump or you have a Tifa, you could potentially bring 4 or 5 lands back into the battlefield, and then all of a sudden Tifa gets ×5 her power, and it's over. It's just unless they have a removal or first striking death touch, it's over. They're gonna get knocked the hell out. I don't care how big that is. If we're doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling, it's gonna be like 200 points of damage. So that is turn 2 for his Saga, and then until the end of turn, another target creature you control gets trample and +X, where X is the number of lands you control, which is probably going to be like 7 or something like that. Let me tell you, putting +7 on Tifa and then dropping a land when you do that, and again, huge knockout blows, even on Mossberg. Whatever you want to do, it's going to hit them hard, and that's the idea. As far as the sorceries go, I think that Bushwhack is not a bad idea. This lets you search for a land and put it into your hand. It doesn't let you put it down right away, but it does make people fight, so you could potentially do a fight card to knock some very troublesome card out, especially if you have a really big boy like a huge Mossberg or a huge Tifa. You can really hit them and get rid of a troublesome creature, and also land search. We have a new card called Clash of the Icons right here. That is 1 green. You choose one. Target creature controls fights a creature your opponent controls, which is a similar thing to Bushwhack, but it also lets you control lore counters on Saga. You can either remove a lore counter from a Saga or put a lore counter on a Saga to increase or decrease. Very useful for Fenrir or the Titan. If you want to mill more cards, or you want to increase it and push it up more, or you want to do something again or repeat a step, you can actually do that with Clash of the Icons and figure out how you want to hit these summons off. Very, very cool, like on that Final Fantasy summon right there. Of course, I'm gonna have some instants here. Let me zoom out a bit so you can see them. We also have Snakeskin Veil for protection. People are going to realize what you're doing, and you're going to have to kind of protect your cards. So 2 Snakeskin Veils is an instant for hexproof and +1/+1. And Tifa's Limit Break, potentially right there as well. Let me zoom in again. Tifa's Limit Break. And that is a tiered. Yeah, you have a couple options for your Tifa's Limit Break if we're doing Tifa-themed cards. 1 green. Somersault. So you pay 1 green, target creature gets +2/+2. Pretty good, especially if you're going to be doubling something like Tifa or Mossberg. Meteor Strikes. This is the 3-drop. Double target creature power and toughness until the end of turn. Insanely powerful on Mossberg or Tifa herself or any other. I mean, you could even play it on the Titan. Then he's a 14/14. You know, you can swing him with a 14/14 trample. Final Heaven. Infinite Golden Palm Lotus Strike Fist. 1 green and 6. I doubt we're ever going to play that, but hey, it's a huge mana sink late in the game. Triple target creature's power and toughness until the end of turn. That is just stunting on people. That is for no other reason than just to absolutely flex on people and completely destroy their will to play the game. So Tifa's Limit Break, very, very cool stuff right there as a new card. We're also going to have 4 Fabled Passages, so we can play 2 lands a turn. We're going to have 19 forests, 23 lands. You know, you could put on Overlord. You could put down the Overlord because that does give you an extra land and it helps you ramp a little bit. Haunt Woods, if you wanted to do that. I'm not super... we already have enough 3-drops, so it's like I would maybe consider that in the sideboard. Another sideboard card that's not terrible is Bloomvine Regent right here. That does give you claim territory. You search your library for 2 basic forests, reveal 1, put 1 on the battlefield, and 1 goes in your hand. If you don't have a land, you get 1 land drop for the mechanic, and then 1 land goes in your hand, and you can drop that 1 manually. So you could get two potential land drops out of it. But again, we're pretty much filled up on 3-drops with Insidious, with Mossberg Hydra, and Summon Fenrir. I feel like we're okay on the 3-drops. We have a lot of 2s and a lot of 3s. You could expand it to any one of those. Overlord of the Haunt Woods or Bloomvine. You also get that dragon, which is 4/5 and gains you life, which is fine. But that is the idea behind the deck. Just landfall your way to knock out, drag down, awesome, huge hits, huge strikes right there. That is what we're looking for. Pretty decent curve. 9.3, 93.5% playing these on curve, which is not bad. Again, 60 cards, 23 lands, 21 creatures, 4 sorceries, 4 instants, and 14 enchantments. Heavy on the enchantments. The average mana value of my deck is 1.23 with and 2 without lands. The median value is 1 and 2 without land. So it's pretty low cost. It's not that expensive, which I don't feel like we're going to need a lot of lands. It is straight mono green. We're not throwing any red in there. You could. There's a lot of different ways that you could run this. You could play this a lot of different ways. Add red into it. Add more landfall. You could play Golgari and add some of those Golgari landfalls into there. Add some black into it. But I'm going to go with straight green just because I feel like straight green doesn't get the love that it does. Decent opening hands here. Not too bad. We're going to try a couple of play tests and see what the mechanics turn out to and see if we can't get that Tifa into a humongous power and toughness territory. So we're going to try a play test right here. Let's come on with me there. All right, so that's not a great early. We're gonna shuffle that one again. Restart. Boom. Wow, we're getting restart. We're gonna mulligan that. All right, that is not great either. Damn. A lot of mulligans here. Well, this isn't the official game, so let's try that again. That's decent. Okay, so first things first, we drop a forest, and we say next turn. We draw Tifa, we put down a forest, we could drop our Tifa right there. Then we say this is turn 2, next turn. So here's how we do this. Watch this. So we put Audacity on Tifa. Boom. Like that. We'll put down another forest. Her power would increase to 6. So we'd be swinging in with a 6. And then we could put an Order of Nylea on her. Even before we do that, well, no, it would have to be after. We could put another enchantment on her. She would swing in. It would be a 7 trample right there. It would actually be, she would be a 7/3 trample on the hit. Boom. That's 7 damage on turn 3, assuming they don't kill it. And then next turn, on turn 4, guess what? Next turn, put down a forest. Boom. She is still at a, she had 1/1 for this, and she had, she has 1/1 for this, so that's 2, and then 2 more, that's 4. We put down a land, that's 8, and then we play Fenrir. We search our library for a basic land card and put it on, that's 16. We're swinging in for 16 right there. Boom. Okay, so we hit 7 next turn and 16 this turn. If they are ramping and not taking us seriously and not have hit the removal, we're going to hit them. We're going to hit them hard. We're going to hit them extremely hard. It's actually going to be 17 because Order of Nylea is going to put another 1/1 counter. We have the Mossberg Pump as our backup, so we could have played it differently by putting down a Mossberg and then hitting another Summon Fenrir, because these aren't legendaries. You can play as many as you want. You can put down as many of those as you want and keep pumping. Keep pumping, keep pumping, keep pumping. Eventually, Order of Nylea will trigger, and we're going to get 2 more lands down. You can see the amount of pressure that you're going to be putting on the plays here. You can see that just the sheer amount that you're going to be kind of laying down against your opponent here, of having to answer this much damage turn 3, turn 4, how fast it is and how fast it gets out of control. So that's kind of the idea behind it. We're trying to double that. We're trying to put as much damage downrange, put as much firepower downrange with Tifa as we can as quick as possible, and that's going to be the key right there. So let's take a look at another hand here. We'll do another one. We'll restart the game. Another great hand. We put down a green. We say next turn. Boom. Again, play that. Drop a Tifa. Actions. Next turn. Hey, we love it. We put down a Bristly Bill. We put down a Forest. Boom. That is going to put a 1/1. We'll order our triggers, so she is a 2. She is a 2/3, and then she doubles to be 4. Boom. We take it from there. All right. That's turn 3. Next turn. Another land. Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna put down Audacity. We're gonna put down Audacity on her. Boom. So she has a 1/1 counter. So she's 6. She's 4. Put a land down. 8. Play Summon Fenrir, and then she's going to be 16, 17, 18. You get it. On turn 4, if they haven't killed her, it's yeah. Mineral area, that is a problem. However, you'll be happy to hear that we only have about 2 months with cut down left. I know everyone's going to say dies to removal, but listen, everything dies to removal, and it's a skill check. It's a card check right here. We're basically saying you either have to deal with this on turn 3 or turn 4, or you're going to get knocked the fuck out. You're going to absolutely get knocked the fuck out if you do not have a hard check of that removal. If you haven't figured out, if you're dicking around and you're not paying attention, you let me hit turn 3 or turn 4, you are going to take a enormous amount of damage. I think this is going to do probably the most damage to any kind of deck that needs a lot of setup. Believe it or not, I think it'll actually be pretty good against cutter decks, because they don't really have very many good... they don't really carry too much removal. They play some knockback, and they play some other bullshit. They do play a lightning bolt every now and again. But they kind of like to get themselves set up for a really big kind of double spell attack and to kind of deal with you. But they don't have enough blockers to deal with you going in with fucking 22 damage. They're going to absolutely lose everybody in the hit. And then they're right back to square one. They've played a lot of spells. I think it has potential. I think that you could actually do quite a lot of damage with this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And we will see. That's kind of the idea. We will see. You're going to get some good hands. You're going to get some bad hands. But you're going to have a good time with it either way. Landfall, crushing punches on this one, which is going to be really fun to do. I think it's going to curve out pretty smoothly. I think that you could play it pretty aggressively, which is kind of the name of the game right now. Yeah, you could absolutely add more protection if you're worried about getting killed. More snakeskin veils or any kind of other kind of protection cards are fine as well. Overprotect is not bad either. That's perfectly fine. You could add an overprotect into the sideboard. If you're that worried about if you're getting killed, if you're a best of 3 type of guy, and you're getting just absolutely crushed with removal, overprotect is fine, because that will also give you the huge pump that you want. Target creature gets +3/+3, trample, hexproof, and indestructible. Very, very useful card to have on your sideboard, just in case you are playing against a lot of removal or other nonsense as it goes. But that is going to be my Tifa Landfall, Tifa Punch, Tifa Kick, all that stuff. Have I said the word Tifa enough? I hope you like this one, guys. Stay tuned. Again, June 4th. Stay tuned to the channel. Turn on those notifications. We'll be going live with early access stuff for your pleasure. We'll see you then, guys. I've been Jay Villainy. You've been great, and I hope you're excited for Final Fantasy as much as I am. We'll see you in the next one. Adios and goodbye.